Good afternoon, everybody. You know, if it hadn't been a family style event, I'd probably have a hangover today.
Right?
So thank you for throwing a family style Mardi Gras. It was fun.
It was fun.
I don't care what anybody says, it was the most fun I've had in a long time.
I had a great time.
How about you, Andre? Andre Smith is with us today. Hey, Andre
Hello.
Smith.
First of all, I want to say Happy Valentine's Day to everybody.
Thank you, and happy Valentine's Day to you too.
And yesterday's event, the first annual Soul City Mardi Gras.
Hey, you got it right. Look at there.
It was an outstanding event, and kudos and hats off to the people who put it together, ladies.
Jennifer Young.
Unified Chamber of Commerce, Harrison House. It's a family event that everybody should have been there.
Everybody was there.
Well, somebody was somebody. Yeah, they was there.
Everybody somebody was there.
But next year, and I'm already going to fast forward to next year.
Okay, we're going to go for the second annual. So
right, we're going to fill that whole street up. We're talking thousands.
Thank you.
So I want to be involved.
So the ones who missed it missed a great time.
Yes, they did.
And so they won't miss it next year.
No, they won't.
Okay.
Well, it was just, I could see the effort that was put into it. I actually sat outside the grounds and watched, everybody, participate and set
Did
up.
you call me from a cell phone across the street?
I did.
I'm over here, on the side. The streets are blocked off. Y'all got anything to drink in there?
Well,
Water.
And I was observing everything, and I was like, wow, man, these ladies are on point, and they mean what they say.
You caught us
say
still
what they
putting
mean.
up curtains. You were there early. You saw us backing
right.
the curtains and yeah.
So I think it has the greatest potential to keep the word I'm looking for to keep going.
Momentum. Okay, so here's the momentum, and the reason why I'm so pleased with Andre Smith as a member of the Chamber of Commerce is that we reached out to the University of Nevada, Las Vegas to find out why our community was in the condition that it was in. Not what to do about it, but just why were we having these challenges in our community. Because the people who live in our community thought that it was the abundance of negative things that were going on, inappropriate activity. We have a certain amount of street trafficking, we've got street feeding, we've got just a lot of abandoned buildings. And so people wondered why no development would come to this part of Ward 5. And so I reached out to the university, Dr. Christine Clark. She said that your neighborhood is suffering from white supremacy and racism. And this was a white woman talking to me. I was like, excuse me? We're suffering from conditions that I don't even know exist. And so she explains to me the attitudes and opinions that people have about our neighborhood that are in powerful positions. So I reached out to the most well-trained force in the world. I'm told that if a black man in America gets past age 18 and he's still alive and not involved in the criminal justice system, then he should be considered among the elite people in the world. That's one fact. Another fact is that the American military trains the best soldiers in the world. And, hands down. So if I could find African Americans who are trained in the U.S. military, we could change the condition of our community. So I reached out to Andre Smith, and he answered the call. So thank you, Andre.
Continue to serve. That's my motto. Continue to serve.
Thank you for your service. And since the statistics say this is not us talking, you are among the most elite, highly trained individuals in the entire world. Okay, what happened?
Well, since we're kind of on the topic a little bit about veterans, if you will, I want to give a shout out to Dr. Oliver Stark.
I thought you were going to talk about Donald Trump.
Oh, we'll get to him later.
Okay.
I want to give a shout out to Dr. Alstock. He just opened up Veterans Village #3 down the street around the corner from the studio here.
Yeah.
It was a great turnout. There were a lot of politicians, Senator Hammond, Steve Soroka, Councilman Steve Soroka, Mayor Carolyn Goodman.
Are you dropping names or what's
I'm just speaking what I observed.
These are people who are actually supporting the Veterans Initiative.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
great.
And, it was a pretty good turnout. It's a very nice facility, and the seed has been planted to do a Veterans Village 4 in North Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And the funny thing about it is, Miss Menoir, who we were sitting next to each other when we was talking, and she says, North Las Vegas, Ward 5 needs a Veterans Village. That's all we know. I said, it's in the works.
Okay, now I'm glad you said that North Las Vegas Ward 5 because people get us confused with each other. People believe we're in North Las Vegas. We are not in North Las Vegas. Ward 5 is in the city of Las Vegas. And that's one of the challenges that we have as Black people is that people don't know our geographic boundaries and where their municipal power starts and stops. So the Black community, the residents, are directly divided by municipal boundaries. So there's two different sets of governments that we respond to. Pamela Goins is the city councilwoman in Ward 2, I believe, in North Las Vegas that represents the largest minority, the largest concentration of Blacks. And then Ricky Barlow did, until his recent demise, represent the largest concentration of Blacks in Ward 5, which is in the city of Las Vegas. Now the producers over there cracking up. So I think the change was, we better go to the daily freestyle so we can get into the spirit of Black History Month. It is Black History Month in Las Vegas.
It is.
And today is February
14th,
and it's Valentine's Day. So happy Valentine's Day to everyone. And I'm going to go to the daily highlights. We're using KRS-One's The Gospel of Hip Hop, First Testament, presented by KRS-One from the tip of hip hop to set the tone and hopefully guide our discussion through Black History Month. So today is the 14th, and there's normally a hip hopper, which is a new term for a person who's involved in the hip hop culture. And I may be a hip hopper, I just don't know it yet. So I may be a future hip hopper. But today, Andre, how are you with rapping?
I'm not. I can write.
Okay, I bet you can
I don't have rhythm.
I bet you can rhythm this out. Now this is rap music or from a hip hop culture. February the 14th, Valentine's Day. What does the KRS-One bring to us today? Can you make that sound like something?
But the difference between sinking and rising above is shown in your levels of hate and love.
Ooh, okay. All right, okay. Thank you. You want to do it again? You want to do it again? And let us know what goes on in your mind as you ponder?
February 14th. The difference between sinking and rising above is shown in your levels of hate and love. Well, I tell you, what comes to my mind, and this is unity.
Yes.
If we, as a Black people, as a race, do not have unity, then what do we have? We have confusion. We have divisiveness between the ranks, if you will. We have to have the mindset of we cannot do it alone. We have to unite to get something done. We suffer as a people with self-hatred. And the reason being is because we've been conditioned like that to be divided amongst us. I'm going to go back to the 60s.
But before you take us on a trip into Black history, let anyone know who wants to join us in this conversation, because we are live, but they can call 702-983-0711. This is Radio Tribune. Rolando, shout out to Radio Tribune for bringing us our Black History Month every day from 12 to 1 live right here in Las Vegas. So what happened in 1960?
Well, we had an illustrious president back then named Lyndon B. Johnson. And he made the quote, because he was a Democrat, He says, I will have these N-word people voting Democrat for the next 200 years. Well, this has been right about 50-something years now, so he's got a fourth of the mission completed. In his commentary, he was speaking that we can give black people just enough, but not enough to make a difference. We will give them housing and welfare, we'll give them subsidies, but we will not give them capital to break into industry, such as steel plants, hospitals, things of that nature there. So, while fast forward into now, we have 2018, and now we get to Trump, okay? Trump sees the injustices that was done to the black community.
Okay, well, he just came out with a Black History Month African American thing. So what's he talking about? Was it in the paper?
Well, that's what I'm getting at. It's,
okay.
When it boils down to it, it's about economic empowerment.
Mm-hmm.
It's about the money.
Mm-hmm. But he talked about veterans specifically.
Absolutely, and he just signed over $198.6 billion for the veterans. That was yesterday, okay, and that's in the executive orders that he just recently signed. And that money is to go from the VA to all type of veteran resources and outreaches and job creation. And that's the difference between Lyndon Baines Johnson back then in the 60s, and Donald Trump now. Donald Trump lived through all of this and he saw it. And he says, the black man has been given a bad deal, okay? It's time to change that. We want the black community to rise up, just like it says right here, between sinking and rising above, okay? He wants our community to say, all right, you heard the old saying, pull up the bootstraps. Okay, now we're going to level the playing field.
I don't like to pull up your bootstraps because
it's an old saying.
It's an old saying, but they forgot that they had already cut our feet off.
Right, you don't even have shoes.
So and no feet. So pulling up your bootstraps ain't working for me.
Okay.
So we're using the General Assembly from the United Nations.
Mm-hmm.
The United Nations is a global peacekeeping organization that's over 7 years old. It's made up of leaders from every free country in the world. And they look at human rights and justices worldwide. And for the first time in a 7-year history, it has placed a sanction against the United States of America for its treatment of its black citizens.
Mm-hmm.
So we're using a United Nations document to guide our discussion for Black History Month. Not only the findings in the document itself, but we also want to unify around the recommendations to see what our responsibility is as a people to move the United Nations agenda forward.
Well, let me speak my piece on the United Nations, and Ms. Haley, she's doing a great job over there, representing the United States. It was brought to the United Nations back when President Obama was president, the subject of reparations for the African American. And he cut that conversation very short, very quick. He being the president.
You mean Barack Obama?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
He cut that conversation short, that dialogue short, because the majority did not want to hear about giving the black man money to empower themselves.
So United Nations didn't just recommend money. So before we get to the solutions and all the things that we need to do, we need to look at, because money, doesn't solve everything. We know some of the richest people in the world commit suicide, are involved in all kinds of criminal activity. They're the most unhappy people in the world. So we don't believe that money is the answer for all things, as it says in
and that's in Ecclesiastes.
Chapter 19. But it's not necessarily things that we need. I'm not discounting things, but we have to do some spiritual healing as well.
Well, absolutely.
And I think that's part of what the UN is suggesting, because if we don't, it has to start with, we're looking at the global level. When we read yesterday, it has to start with, the cosmic mother, and then us realizing that we're all sisters and brothers. So there's some some race relations building that has to take place among our sisters and brothers. So before we can learn how to love our sisters and brothers and our neighbor, we get to indulge ourselves into some self-love. So we have to learn about love. We have to learn about the different types of love there is, sibling love, conjugal love. There's a whole lot of different kinds of love. And these are the things that have been stripped from us as a people. Our external spirit and our internal body are at odds with each other because we're carrying around a bunch of values, interests, and principles that are not our own, connected with our bodies. So our bodies and our spirits are at odds with each other.
Well, where that happens, where the rubber meets the road is the battlefield. What is the battlefield? Our minds. Okay? And it says in, I believe that's Romans. It says, be not conformed of the worldly things, but be transformed by the renewing of the mind.
Yes.
We all, not only blacks, but all people, none of us to come together in unity, we have to have that renewing of the mind.
I'm going to say it's a human condition to not like yourself.
Yes, absolutely.
You have bullies your whole life.
Mm-hmm.
You have parents who sometimes you feel wronged you. There's a million reasons why you can feel unloved. And like you said, it ultimately does come back to your own mind and self-worth, self-esteem,
But there's a certain amount of conditioning.
Absolutely.
And it was purposeful conditioning to teach black women how to feminize young black male children.
Oh, that's a whole topic.
So then there's a lot of underlying phobias and things that we've been trained to do that we have to unlearn.
I don't think it was a deliberate thing. When you don't have a father around and a woman is doing the man's job and the woman's job, that's the end result of not having a man present, right? How does a woman know how to raise a man?
It goes beyond that. If you take
that's a good point.
If you take a child from a parent at a very early age, and you mate him with a child from another family from an early age, you take them away from their families, and you teach them values, interests, and principles that are of their oppressor. So they have children. 7 generations down, you created a nigger. Whether you would like it or not, we've created a nigger. And these are the people that we are trying to take the nigger word off of and say we can't use the N word. But what we're going to do with the N people that we created systematically in the country. Yeah. And then after slavery was over, we relegate them into a Jim Crow type of existence and then throw them into ghettos and subhuman like living conditions. And then we expect them to prosper. What do we expect from the people that we created in America? So these are some of the things that the General Assembly and the UN looks at. We've created a group of people in this country that have no knowledge of self, don't know their history, don't know why they're in the condition that they're in, and then they're being blamed for the condition that they're in on top of it.
I have a solution to that. And it's going to have to go all the way back to when this group called NWA.
And what does that stand for?
Niggas with attitudes.
Okay,
We're
so they formed an organization.
It was at the same time KRS came out.
What is their website?
But they had a negative viewpoint on life because these were young black men growing up in the ghetto.
Wait, young black men growing up in the ghetto.
Growing up in the ghetto and had all the odds against them, so therefore they had the mindset of screw the police. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Well, that was later played, actually.
But these people, this group.
That we declare war on.
Well, we didn't declare war.
The Clinton administration declared war on them.
No, this was even before.
This is Tipper Gore.
Okay, but the point is, he's the solution.
Schneider from Twisted Sister, that's when he had to step in and fight for music to have freedom of speech, and that's why we have the ratings on our music and video games. But Tipper Gore walked into Congress and said, we're going to outlaw all music, and that's when that is really when music got uglier and more blatant.
The solution is, we need to go right back to that group We need to go right back to that group, to that NWA,
And
Dr.
that's
Dre,
86.
Ice Cube, Yella,
These
and
are
all
the
these.
NWA?
This is the
No,
NWA.
No, the NWA is a group.
That's what I said. I want their web address. I want
MC Ren,
Google.
Yeah.
MC Ren, Ice Cube, Easy
Yeah.
DJ Yella, Dr. Dre, and Arabian Prince.
Yeah.
And so what they,
So
what
they're
they,
like the organizer.
No,
I want to know how.
Because if you look at Easy and Dr. Dre, like Dr. Dre gave Snoop Dogg his start, Warren G his start. So the first time I ever heard a Snoop Dogg CD, I'm just gonna say it. I lived in Arkansas at the time, and I am hip hop from day one. Okay, I listen to any genre of music, any genre. I love music with all my heart. But I'm telling you, the first time I heard a Snoop Dogg CD and the first time I ever heard a Kid Rock CD, I was both going down Interstate 40 in Arkansas. Didn't even live there, just both times happened to be driving through visiting family. And I have never in my life taken a CD, but with both of these, I rolled down my window and threw them out like a frisbee and cried because I realized that this was the ruin of the black kid.
yes,
What do you mean the
100%.
ruin?
Okay, and that's
The
what
Snoop Dogg lyric, they're in this classroom, for instance, and he's like, hey, what do you want to be when you grow up? I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do this, I want to do that. They get to this one kid, what do you want to be when you grow up? He says, another effing hustler, he says. I was like, oh my God, eject, throw this shit out. Like,
What's wrong with being an
he's
entrepreneur?
like a drug
Well,
dealing
come on,
hustler.
and
He's
this,
a drug dealing
and this is
hustler.
Drug dealer. So
Pimpin'.
the commodity was not appropriate for the situation.
No, bro,
Okay.
not him.
I mean,
so back, keeping on topic right here with what KRS One has, which is the difference between sinking and rising above. Back to NWA. When they uttered those words, fuck the police, excuse my French, that set off a trend, a chain reaction that lasted to this day. And that's why there is war with the police in the black community. Because that seed was planted in the mindset of black
the
people.
blacks in this country have been fighting police since 1642. So
Okay, but we were not, that freedom of speech, that the police, what,
we
and
weren't
here's the
bold.
solution.
We weren't bold enough to say. I mean, think
No, but here's the
about
solution.
Harriet Tubman. What do you think she was doing?
Yes, but she wasn't blatant like that.
Oh, she wasn't.
Not
She was
police, But here it is.
Okay.
Here's the solution to all of that.
She was living
Those
as a
very
hero instead of like being a blatant, disrespectful.
Right.
So we're not supposed to disrespect the oppressor. Is that what you're saying? We're supposed to be nice and kind and gentle. We're not supposed to disrespect
We're
the
not
oppressor.
supposed to teach our children just to hate all police. We're not supposed to generalize about anything.
Well, it says in the Bible, obey the authorities
Let me
appointed
just,
over.
okay, here's our producer,
Okay,
chime
so
in.
let me just read a little bit so that the audience has clarification on NWA.
Okay.
And because right now we are speaking of opinions and where our views based on where we're sitting.
Right,
And a solution.
So in NWA
Real
is
fast.
an
Real quick.
abbreviation for niggas with attitude.
Okay.
Okay, was an American hip hop group from Los Angeles, California. They were among the earliest and most significant popularizers and controversial figures of the gangster rap subgenre, and are widely considered one of the greatest and most influential groups in the history of hip hop music. Active from 1986 to 1991, the rap group endured controversy owing to their music explicit lyrics, which many viewed as being disrespectful to women, as well as its glorification of drugs and crime. The group was subsequently banned from many mainstream American radio stations. In spite of this, the group has sold over 10 million units in the United States alone, drawing on their own experiences of racism and excessive policing. The group made inherently political music. They were known for their deep hatred of the police system, which sparked much controversy over the years.
Okay.
Okay. Give me the thing after police.
No, that was NWA. So just so
I
you
mean,
have a general idea.
Let's Google.
Yeah.
I like Google. I wish
Okay.
I had some Google
Yeah, that's
programs. I had a encyclopedia of Canada.
I remember growing up, any culture being okay to call your woman the B word. Okay? Like,
No, not at all.
never. And when I say this to men, and it's all colored men that think this is okay now, And then they're like, oh, it's like one of your girlfriends saying, hey, what's up? And I was like, listen to me. If a woman walked around calling me, hey, bitch, what's up? Do you know what she would be? Besides nothing other than, she'd be out of my life, not even my enemy. Like,
Okay,
no time for
well,
you.
let's do this. So let's roll it back just a little bit because this is Black History Month, and I know women, some black people are women, but we're gonna stick it to just Black history.
Right.
Okay, gender. We don't want to get into the gender thing because when it comes to black women being bitches, we have a whole different set of conversations.
What name you call people.
So being a bitch in the black community has a whole different set of connotations.
Not your man's calling you that.
So we don't. Let's work back on. Let's get back to the veterans. Let's get back to the veterans and Donald Trump. And it is getting 1/2 Anyone wanting to call in and join us again? 702-983-0711. This is Radio Tribune. We're here from noon to 1 every day during Black History Month. And thanks again to Radio Tribune for giving us this format to let our voices be heard as we talk to Andre Smith and Jennifer Young about what we're dealing with.
Okay.
Love today. Love.
Back to the KRS-One Gospel of Hip Hop. February 14th topic being the difference between sinking and rising above is showing the levels of hip love.
Yeah.
Well, back to that NWA thing.
Yes.
We're talking about the black community.
Yes.
And we're talking about solution.
And when we define black community, are we talking about a neighborhood that's predominantly black people, or we're talking about all of Southern Nevada, where there's 200,000 of us dispersed across Southern Nevada? We're talking about the state, the nation, or the world of black people. Let's talk about what the black community
I'm going to stay in my boundaries of the United States of America.
So you're talking about black. When you say the black community, you're talking about blacks in America.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's go with that. Okay.
Ice Cube, in one of his songs, he says niggas are in a state of emergency.
Mm-hmm.
The death side, a mirror image of where we want to go. The light side. So sign your death certificate. The same people who put out the police, they're putting out all these politically negative views, planting the seed. Here's the solution. Those very same people who started this 20-something years ago need to come right back around with new positive messages. Say, yes, we understood we started the trend of fuck the police. That was wrong. Go to the biblical principles. Obey the authorities appointed over you. Then you won't have that attitude.
But there are many leaders who come since then and said, if a law is unjust and you continue to abide by the law, then you're just as guilty as the oppressor. So then,
make it be known. Well, make it be known, but do not rise up in protest against to a degree to where you're causing some type of social unrest. And that's what NWA did.
So it's okay for this group of people to be socially unrestful all the time, so long as they don't make everybody else feel uncomfortable. Is that what you're saying?
No, that's not.
File a petition. They were not
guided.
Right, you elect them in, you elect them out.
Most of the rappers and the gangster rap and the black community, they want to stay away from the police pretty much. They don't want to. They have a phobia. The phobia was created back in NWA. I mean, it's always been there, but it's been voiced.
Well, the phobia has grown up. It's a double-edged sword. The police are afraid of the black community. The black community is afraid of the police. So there's fear on both sides. Remember, the people that are policing us are just as fearful of us as we are of them.
They listen to NWA too, and they understand that. Look, man, these kids, young men, gangsters, quote unquote, they're not even in my realm of gangsters.
You weren't here yesterday. We learned about some medical conditions that people suffer from. We learned about xenophobias and afrophobias. There are people who actually suffer from mental conditions with these names attached to them. Xenophobia, we learned, was when people have a fear of anything or anybody that doesn't look like them, or anything that doesn't look like them is foreign to them. And afrophobia is they're deathly afraid of black people.
Big ones.
And these are mental conditions that in a lot of police run around the neighborhood have these conditions.
Absolutely. Absolutely they do. I mean, you gotta understand something. We butcher our own. Not to say it doesn't happen in other races or other nations.
And no, I'm not saying it's just
But
black
we
police officers
butcher
suffer from it. Black police
ourselves
officers-
with no conscience at all.
Black police officers suffer from xenophobia and Afrophobia. I got a nephew who won't come to the West Side, and he's black as I am. I can't explain it, but it's
Well,
there.
like I said, you know, as far as the solution, we're going to have these people now who are now billionaires and billionaires to come back and readdress the police issue and say, no, that right there at the time it sounded like a great idea, but we need to give respect to our law officials, our government, to say, look, okay, we agree to disagree. And we'll take the proper steps to voice our opinions and things like that. But we're not going to come out here waving AK-47s, talking about shooting and selling dope and robbing and killing our own kind. That's where NWA and those type of people need to come back around and say, look, we need to square this up. We need to clean this up.
Hey, we just got someone joining us. Andre Mickey.
Hey, how's it going?
How you doing, DeAndre? Happy New Year. Valentine's Day. Meet Jennifer Young and Andre Smith.
Yeah.
How you doing?
How you doing, sir?
All right.
Yes, sir. You started in the military?
Yeah, absolutely.
And the topic of conversation today is the African Americans' involvement, your role in bringing about the UN mandated or recommendations given to the United States of America. The United Nations, so give me just a second. So the United Nations has made a lot of recommendations on how we can fix this problem.
We're just talking about it.
Well, the UN, they play a big part of it, and I believe, like I said, these now billionaires and hundreds of millionaires, Dr. Dre and all of them, they need to come up and say, look, we got to save our people. What we started back then planted a deep seed of resentment towards law enforcement, government, you know, and we see them all as crooked.
Yeah.
They're not all crooked. So therefore, where Dr. Dre could be instrumental, where Ice Cube, DJ Yella, and even Alonzo, who brought them together back then, I personally know, if they come together and say, look, guys, we're really in that state of emergency, like Ice Cube said back in one of his albums, I believe it was Death Certificate. We are in that state of emergency, but we can do better because
He hasn't heard anything.
Well,
You guys
like-
said, so ask him about hip hop
Yeah.
and NWA. What is his
Right. Well, I just want him to finish up his thought, but I didn't know he was going to double back and repeat some stuff he already said. So
oh yeah.
he was supposed to finish up the Donald Trump and the African American thing.
Well, Donald Trump, okay, we'll get to that part.
Okay, so
Donald Trump seen the injustices done to our people.
Yeah.
So therefore, he has put the executive orders out to deregulate a lot of things to level that playing field. Okay?
have you seen his list of initiatives that he's put on the table?
Yes, I have.
Can you bring them back on another show and share what the President of the United States of America has?
And yes, I
He
will.
has an agenda for us,
Yes, he does.
and he has some specific suggestions and recommendations.
Yes, he
I've
does.
been Trump supporter.
I
ain't got no problem with it. I just want to understand where you're coming from. So,
Well, this is Black History Month, so we're talking about what got us to where we are today, what's going on today, and then what measures are we taking as Black people to make sure that we are successful in the future.
That's a good point that you just said there.
So,
And hip hop, tie in hip hop.
hip hop is, okay, so for me, the reason I chose hip hop, because when I was invited on to do this show, I had just gone to a KRS lecture. And for me, I'm a 62-year-old woman. I had been taught that hip hop was bad, it was gangster, it was drugs and thugs, don't go near it. When they told me it was outlaws in the city parks, I was happy. But when I went to the KRS lecture, this one young Black man raised his hand after this wonderful lecture and said, what are we going to do to teach the old people? And I'm like, oh, he's talking about me. I need to learn what's separating me from the younger generation. So they brought home the book, The Gospel of Hip Hop, from the Temple of Hip Hop, KRS-One, and I read it. You know, a lot of it I did fast. I didn't read every aspiration for every day. But the gist of what I got from this young artist is that he loves God, he loves family, he talks about all the things that we believe are wholesome and good. So how could this hip hop music be what everybody has told me all my life when this is the first hip hop person that I meet and know about? This is the first hip hop artist that I've actually come to know through his work. So I'm trying to figure out what went wrong. Because if somebody, would this guy be part of NWA?
Freedom of speech kind of, took it to the other level and circling right back around to NWA and planted that seed of disrespect in the people.
So is KRS One part of NWA?
I disagree with that.
Okay, well let's hear what you're
I disagree with that. Here's why I disagree with that. How did the NWA plant the seed of hatred toward the police when they were responding to the injustices that they were experiencing in the hood that was caused by the policemen?
Absolutely.
So
you are correct here, but there is a way to do things.
Yeah,
okay,
It just was not guided in the political way.
Okay, but they come. They're coming. Okay. I understand where you're coming from the political way, but let's understand the circumstances and the environment that they grew up in. They grew up in what we would call the hood. So let's be honest, what in the hood, we're not necessarily educated on how to present ourselves on purpose or in a political way. So they went about expressing themselves the best way they knew how, and that was keeping it real, keeping it raw, telling it like it is, expressing how they really feel. I'm tired of political correctness. I believe that's why you voted for Donald Trump. So with the NWA, instead of being politically correct about the injustices, they was telling it like it was because they was trying to relate what the hood was feeling, what the people in the hood were going through. And so the people in the hood, they don't relate to political talk. We relate to real. We relate to what's really going on. So we don't relate to, we just got to do it best. No, we got what we got to do.
You're not Joni Mitchell, whitewashing and saying they pay Paradise and put up a parking lot.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you live your reality.
Yeah, I'm talking from my reality. I'm talking from my reality.
And so sometimes freedom of speech is very ugly, isn't it?
It is, but that's the beauty about America. We got freedom of speech. That's the beauty about this country.
It's 100% true.
I'll get passionate. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I get passionate.
But let me have the book.
This
book got a conversation, so I'm going to read it to you again.
You're from a generation who is a completely different generation, and so you were raised on hip hop, 100%.
Yeah.
You were raised on the culture, 100%.
Yeah.
But he also inherited a lot of ugly stuff.
You never had to fight for your civil rights, so to speak.
Yes, she's still fighting.
No, I mean, like, you never got sprayed down with a water hose and like couldn't.
No, but my mother didn't burn him out.
No, but I'm saying he's from a completely different generation than your mother, than you, than we're all different generations sitting here. So he was raised on hip hop.
I understand where you're coming from, but I know what it's like to be profiled by the police.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to go in the elevator. No, I'm not saying, I'm just going from I know what it's like to be in an elevator with, a Caucasian woman, but this is a true story. She tugging her purse. I'm not thinking about your purse.
Yeah.
That's not the type of. Why do you think I want your purse? What has been programmed in your mind to think that I want your purse?
We learned two words.
Gangster look.
We learned two words.
Gangster look.
No. We learned two words people suffer from: xenophobia and Afrophobia. These are two terms that the United Nations.
So you're telling me that the United States of America, this government or the police or any have not been responsible for playing a part in the reason why people think about them or perceive them the way they do?
Well, absolutely.
So why are you always saying it's the NWA?
Because they're the ones who had the biggest voice to plant the seed at the time. Okay? When they came with the fucking police, when they came with let's shoot, kill, and sell drugs. Oh yeah, especially all that there. That right there planted the seed in the young African Americans say, hey, well, that's the right thing to do. If they want to ride around and harass us, let's ride around and harass them.
Yeah, it may not have been the most popular response, but at the same time, it's like, that their anger wasn't guided into the right direction.
That's my point.
So they were young men. Where the elder was at? Where the elder was at to keep them out of it? Where they was at?
Let me speak on Lonzo. Let me speak on Lonzo, if you will, who took NWA in.
I'm gonna read the scripture one more time.
Read the
Okay.
scripture.
February 14th, this is Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And Kara, as one
And
says,
we can know
the
that.
difference between, the difference between sinking and rising above is shown in the levels of hate and love.
That's right.
So we talked about love a lot, and that's what we're talking about today. What is love? And we understand that we as a people have very little love because we don't love ourselves. So it's hard to love our sisters, our brothers, our mothers, anyone, unless we as Black people learn to love ourselves first. We are overeaters, and when we do eat, we eat all the wrong stuff. We don't know how to raise our families because we raised them with the values, interests, and principles of our oppressor. We got a lot of stuff going on. We got a lot of work to do. So I would suggest that since we're talking about unity, that we unify around the one document that's been presented to us, not by Black people in America, not by white people in America, but by a council out of the United Nations that was presented at the General Assembly. These people took a great deal of time to study the situation. I'm not saying this is the only document there is by any stretch of the imagination, but at least if we start here, we can start to look at what are some of the recommendations for us to move forward as a people. And because we do have work to do. And no one's going to do this work for us.
I agree. I want to respond to something that you said. You said, where are the fathers? Let me tell you where the fathers are. It started in, let's go a little history real quick. Let's start with some history.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, they're in history, but let's go back in history. Okay, and coming up in the 1950s, there was more Black entrepreneurship, more Black fathers present in the home, and more Black people owning their own businesses. What happened in the 1960s when the historic Democratic Party, let's be real. Let's be real.
Yeah.
I'm not Democrat or Republican. I'm a realist. Okay.
That's what we just spoke on with the change.
Yeah. So when the Democratic Party, when they had said, okay, you wanted to see government assistance, you want to get on welfare. Hey, Black mom, black woman, your man he can't be in the home. He cannot be in the home. So fast forward. So we got a lot of African American women on welfare. Men cannot be in the house. Here we are in 1995 when the crime bill from Bill Clinton was implemented. That's why a lot of Black men are in prison.
3 strikes law.
3 strikes law. So now I'm not excusing that. Yeah, some people have made decisions to get them where they are in life. Don't get me wrong. But we have people who are making decisions, and we have a system that is in place that is for the destruction and genocide of a people.
I believe you, and that's exactly what this said. The United Nations bill said this exact same thing, genocide. That was their word.
Exactly. So now, here's my thing, though. I'm for uniting around the UN and things like that, but I want to make sure the intentions is right, because how many times are we going to say we need this legislation, this
It's
UN?
not about legislation. These are recommendations about things like have a conversation like we're doing.
Yeah,
This is what it
but we've been
is.
trying to have a conversation for 400 years, and where is
But just like
that
what I
at?
just
Well, let's
said
just say-
yesterday, this is what we need.
What we got was,
Tonight.
we got out of slavery. It took 400
Well,
years.
physical slavery.
We got out of physical slavery. We are emerging from Jim Crow segregation.
Yeah.
We managed to be now hired to work for the oppressor in an amazing way. We can get all the jobs. We have most of the government jobs controlled by Blacks. But the challenge now is to become economically independent of the people who are our traditional oppressor. And so to become financially independent, it's going to take emotional and mental independence so that we don't have to depend on other people for our welfare
I agree.
and for our salvation.
And it's not other people. If you wait for your oppressor to feed you, you will starve.
Oh yeah, no, you're right. You're right. You're absolutely right. The most honorable Elijah Muhammad said exactly that.
And
Stop
so,
waiting for your oppressor.
so right now the debate is, do we get food stamps or do we get powdered milk? That's the debate. Are they going to take us back to powdered milk and cheese, or are we going to continue to get the money? So that's the big debate that's going on right now.
No money.
So
Donald Trump just put that out yesterday. He's
gonna
about to get rid of that food stamp program as far as money. They're going to give them food instead of food stamps.
And then they'll give you
trade.
Franken food. They can manufacture your gross
I
food.
grew up on some stuff that came in a silver can. Did you ever eat this? It was, I don't know what it was called.
Vienna sausage?
No, this
Yeah.
stuff came, it was government,
No.
surplus,
Mhm.
some kind of food. The meat was in a silver can,
Mhm.
and the only way you could eat it is like you had to put a lot of onions in it.
Mm-hmm.
My mother used to put like, y'all ate.
No, we went into a crowded.
No, I think that, I think we,
And then they have this cheese and the powdered milk and the
oh,
powdered
cheese is
egg.
great.
See, so that's what we're going back to for people who need food. I don't know. But this is Black History Month, and a lot of situations have occurred to us as a people, and God knows America through its years has made tremendous strides to try to do something quote unquote with the Negro. They wrote programs for Negro people. But then they decided we weren't Negroes anymore, we were minorities, and they threw a bunch of other people into the same category as us. So all these people became eligible for the same assistance that they were trying to rectify out of slavery. So then, because they started calling us African Americans, then a lot of African people jumped on planes and flew over to America so they could get those same benefits as African Americans. So the Negroes who are direct descendants of slavery, even though there may be all kinds of stuff on the books for us already, like a 40 acres and a mule, is going down because now white women are now considered minorities. They get the money. So
That's right. We're now. Single mom, 4 kids, black woman. Come on. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
So we still have to figure out how to, and it's not just money. Another bill that's been floated in Congress is HR 40. So one of the things we're going to be looking at is Congressman John Conyers' HR 40 bill to see what's next, because that's also mentioned in this UN document. So I would encourage you to visit this document. We're going to be calling for some conferences on this document. We're calling for an African American, we were calling it an African American Leaders Conference, but we don't know who leaders are, so I think we need to call it an African American Conference and then let whoever wants to come, and if they want to put themselves up as a leader, then they can. And we're looking to have this as part of the American Leadership Conference with the Universal Peace Federation. We're trying to work out the details of that now.
That's sometime in March.
Yeah, and we do have a special election coming up in our Ward 5, because when you say community, you're talking about black people all over America. When you say community, African American community, who are you talking about?
I'm talking about, I'm more, I see it more as a Pan-Africanism. I'm talking about black people across the world.
Mm-hmm.
But I do understand, as the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad has taught me, is that I first have to deal with the black men in America, because that's where I directly come from.
Okay. And the Universal Peace Federation says we have to deal with the black person within us, then our families, our black families are in crisis. So part of the challenge is how to mend, restore, and heal the entire family. And that's going to be part of our conversation as we move on throughout the month. Now, Donald Trump and the veterans, are we going to get there?
We're there.
What is he doing with veterans with his latest initiative during Black History Month?
Well, as of yesterday, February 13th, we signed over a budget of $198.6 billion for veterans for the VA, for veterans assistance, job creation, veterans empowerment. We being in the most veteran-friendly state in America, Nevada, we have executive orders and proclamations signed by our current governor that makes us the most veteran-friendly state, and Donald Trump likes that, he knows it, and we are setting the example for the rest of the states to follow as far as economic empowerment for the veterans. And that's all veterans. That's those who have the wherewithal and the thought process to venture off into creating jobs, taking care of veterans, the homeless veterans, the whole 9 yards. No veteran left behind. Okay, so that's the first initial thing, is to get the money to these resources to go ahead and make that difference.
But he did something yesterday with veterans, something about memorials or something, didn't he?
Well, Donald Trump is always doing a lot of stuff, to include having a veterans parade in New York and out on Veterans Day. He's trying to arrange that there, just to give honor to the veterans. Considering that, we've sacrificed, and there's a difference between a person out in the street in a gun battle versus a soldier in a linear battle.
Hmm.
Person out there in the streets, he's just shooting with, hopefully he'll kill his enemy. Well, us in linear battles, we know, what we're shooting at. We're shooting with precision. I bring that up to say the difference between the quote-unquote street soldier and the real soldier is that we are trained to defend the Constitution of the United States of America. Whereas the person...
Andre, if we defended the Constitution to the letter, we would still be in slavery. So there comes a time when you have to look at the document that founded our country and adjust it to the current situation. Because our country was founded under God, and Lord knows we're doing everything but godliness here in Las Vegas. So if we're going to get back to being one nation under God and a country for the world to follow, where's our moral compass? Why isn't everyone representing us now is grabbing women's stuff in public, having all kinds of affairs in public? Where is our moral compass? What happened to the
that particular person that you speak of is not a veteran. He never served.
I'm talking about our Constitution, so we cannot rely on the Constitution in its current form to guide us into the next 100 years. We need to make amendments to the Constitution. We need to make change. If we rely on a document that's unjust, then we're still guilty of the injustice and we're perpetrating the injustice. So I want to take a look at the recommendations from the United Nations. I want us to dig into them more deeply. We want to learn what got us to this point in the first place. We're not going to start at 1642 or 1692 or whatever Christopher Columbus believed he'd stumbled across us in America. We're going to go back 2,000 years ago, 4,000 years ago, and we're going to really look at Black history from creation. We're going to erase all Darwinism, who's been our biggest enemy, and we're going to emerge, hopefully, this Black History Month, having a new chapter in Black history come March 1st, 2018. Y'all with me?
I'm with you.
Well, Trump says yesterday in a speech, speaking of the African American, and he was speaking about the African American veteran, saying, things of, look, we're going to give you guys pretty much preferential treatment. We're going to, get you guys first, to set that example, to be able to build upon those things that you're speaking of. We have to have those quote-unquote leaders to be able to set that example for those who are not so learned, and not so, and it doesn't have to be so difficult or so, collegiate to where you don't understand it. Bring it in at a 5th grade level, okay, to where everybody understands and says, okay, well, that's the right way to go. And then we have our veterans leading the way, So in that part right there, it's tying in with Trump and the veterans and the African American community. And like you said earlier, you bring in these people who've been professionally trained. I am a professionally trained soldier. I am a killer. Okay? But that's not my line of work right now. That's something that I did, and I did it in service. I wear a couple of hats right now, and one of those, I am a veteran advocate for a counterterrorism school. Okay? And we need our people still on the front line, even beyond the veteran service of the United States military.
Andre, let me tell you, when my son turned 16, Trayvon Martin was just killed.
Mm-hmm.
I had to decide whether to buy him a pistol or an Xbox. I'm serious. I was at the point where, how do I make sure my son defends himself when he walks out of my home against whatever forces out there that are out to get him?
And from my perspective, I don't know how you feel with your profile. I kind of do, because growing up in the South, if I was seen with you, I would have been beaten by my father. I would have been outcast by people in town, okay? But 5th grade level, Constitution, when I have to say, and with liberty and justice for all, I want to cry. I want to take a knee. I don't want to say things in Star Spangled Banner. It's disgusting.
But when I sing at Liberty for Justice for All, I say including us. I add a line.
Liberty and justice for all, I want to try.
I say including us.
That in America.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So believe me, I want to be on my knee just as much as everybody else. And then we got this president who wants to divide everybody because you want to get on your knee. It's not about being patriotic. It's about liberty and justice for all. And until I'll take a knee too, because when I was in high school, one of those Southside rebels, and we were the North Side, and you were the South Side, and we had the rebel flag on our chest, and I knew even then that this was wrong, and it was segregated then, and I sat down even then, when I was 17, 18 years old, at our pep rallies when they were playing the Star Spangled Banner, because even then I knew with 1,500 kids, and there's 6 minorities of all the minorities in the crowd, yet across town everybody is all minorities and 6 white kids, there was no liberty or justice for anyone. So, I feel you.
Thank you.
What Donald Trump did was he exposed America's dirty draws.
He did.
Okay? He
He
did.
did. No, he did.
He did. What he did, he's like, look, we're going to confront this thing. Let's everybody be honest. Okay? Yes, the black man has been given the sheep deal. Okay? The white man has the what do you call it? White privilege. Okay? Let's level all of this playing field and let's see if we can get a fresh start and move forward. Okay? But in order to move forward, you have to confront the things that has got us to this point. Lyndon Baines Johnson, President
Everybody got that.
America's a powerful nation.
Absolutely.
But America would not be as powerful until she turned from her evil ways. She would not.
Absolutely.
And let me
I
tell
agree.
you, America considers Washington, D.C. the capital. America looks at Las Vegas as the capital of the world. We got to get together, and it's up to black people in Las Vegas to set the tone for it, take our rightful place, and lead this nation. We're in the driver's seat.
And thank everybody.
This is Radio Tribune. I invite you back every day from 12 to 1. Listen live. Thank you, Andre McGee. Thank you, Andre Smith and Jennifer Young. I'm Catherine Duncan. See you tomorrow at noon. KRS-One Live. Thank you. Bye.